I know people working at Walmart home office, and they are telling me 100% in the next 2 weeks, there are going to be empty shelves in every grocery store in the country. You're going to be eating non-perishables from the rest of the store, and a lot of that's going to be gone. In less than 2 weeks, there will be panic buying right here. This is coming straight from the mouths of people of the biggest food distributor in the goddamn country. Get food now.
Welcome to Every New Day, where every new day we bring you the unfiltered news. And today's topic is kind of concerning. Well, maybe maybe not. Depends who you ask. Today we report on the escalating U.S China trade war. That's China. A showdown with stakes so high, it's giving us flashbacks to the 90s, when trade battles like NAFTA debates and the cool Japan versus Made in America rivalry dominated headlines. Fast forward to today, that's 2025, and we're seeing history repeat, but with far more sharper consequences. The US and China are now locked in a tariff tit for tat, but with billions in a trade at stake. The US has imposed tariffs as high as 145% on Chinese goods. You heard that right. While China has retaliated with 125% duties, effectively freezing trade between the two giant superpowers. Commerce experts warn this could collapse direct trade entirely, forcing China to reroute exports through Mexico and Vietnam. Well, I mean, you know all those goods that you get online on Amazon.com, Alibaba, Temu. Most people don't realize that the majority of those goods, they're manufactured and made, produced in China. And in the last couple of decades, China has full product manufacturing supremacy over most of the global market, mostly because we've outsourced all manufacturing over there. An issue that has been raised by several politicians and several world leaders. Anyhow, remember the panic purchasing consumption in the last world crisis? What do you mean?
So this is Coles North Rocks, toilet paper aisle, absolutely none left.
Tensions flared at Woolworths Chullora around 7 o'clock this morning when 3 women became involved in a toilet paper tussle.
About 3 or so years ago, there was a little thing called COVID, you know, the lockdowns, everything shutting down. Yeah, that was pretty serious. Retailers are now warning of lean inventories by June, and that's just around the corner, with ports like Los Angeles seeing a 35% drop in shipments. This is also occurring all across the Pacific coast of the United States. One CEO called it worse than COVID. Small businesses are stranded, and they're the most hard-pressed, as we know from previous crises, because their inventory is stuck in China, while toy companies predict empty shelves by May the 10th. And I don't know when you're watching this, this could be yesterday or tomorrow. China isn't just fighting with tariffs. It's flaunting its power. They've restricted rare earth minerals, critical for tech. And just a month ago, Trump actually sealed a deal with Zelensky, the president of Ukraine, for rare earth minerals. This was that deal that Trump set off with in trying to establish a ceasefire between Ukraine and Russia in exchange for rare earth minerals, which would be a boost for the Ukraine economy as well. China also has blacklisted US firms and even halted agricultural imports. Now that's the more serious aspect that impacts the United States, because a lot of food and food substances are shipped and imported from China. Not to mention there's also a lot being shipped from outside of the US. So you know what that means? No banana for you. With $784 billion in US debt, China could trigger a margin call style crisis. But for now, it's a high stakes game of risk. America's busiest ports are sounding the alarm, and Long Beach CEO Mario Cordero called the situation dire. With job losses looming, every 4 containers, that's shipping containers, could mean 1 job lost. Truckers and warehouse workers face a total shutdown. While the White House insists tariffs will protect jobs, critics say it's more like a lot of talk, but who's really winning? This isn't just a U.S. China melodrama. It's a global rerun of the Asian financial crisis, with Southeast Asia caught in the crossfire. And you may ask, what are you talking about, Southeast Asian crisis? What was that? The 1997 Asian financial crisis gripped much of East and Southeast Asia during the late 1990s, and that crisis began in Thailand in July of 1997, before spreading to several other countries with a ripple effect. And the raising fears at the time were of a worldwide economic meltdown. The way I see it is that this has been reported since last week. So what looks like it's going to happen is that we're seeing a wave, and perhaps we're not seeing so much of a crisis at this stage because it's mostly prevalent on the Pacific side of the United States. But then there's the east side of the United States, right? And there's also the EU, and they're facing 70% tariffs. Now, that's considerably smaller than China, but these are Trump tariffs as well. And the supply chains are unraveling at a terrible pace. And businesses are scrambling to diversify their factories, attempting to do a literal economic pivot.
Pivot!
Now, you may ask, what about negotiations? Negotiations? Not yet. China says talks are off the table. We're not even talking about what's going under the table. While the US vows to leverage tariffs until borders are secure. For consumers, the advice is one setting quite an anxious mood.
Trust no one, Mr. Mulder.
And as I said, it's probably not affecting everyone across the board in the United States at this point. Stock up now. That's what most executives, employees from Walmart and other places are saying, because holiday shopping could turn out to be a scene straight out of the upcoming Mad Max. We have an update. As of May the 12th, USA and China have agreed to a 90-day suspension of escalating tariffs, marking a significant de-escalation in their ongoing trade conflict. This occurred during productive discussions in Geneva, Switzerland, between the US Treasury Secretary Scott Bessent and Chinese Vice Premier He Lifeng. Under this temporary agreement, the US will reduce its tariffs on Chinese imports from 145% to 30%, while China will lower tariffs on US goods from 125% to 10%, excluding certain sector-specific and fentanyl-related tariffs. The agreement has already influenced global financial markets, strengthening the dollar and causing a sell-off in safe haven assets like gold. Now, for more, Trade Representative Jameson Greer explaining this deal further.
And this was, as the Secretary pointed out, a very constructive 2 days. It's important to understand how quickly we were able to come to agreement, which reflects that perhaps the differences were not so large as maybe thought. That being said, there was a lot of groundwork that went into these 2 days. Just remember why we're here in the first place. The United States has a massive $1.2 trillion trade deficit. So the president declared a national emergency and imposed tariffs, and we're confident that the deal we struck with our Chinese partners will help us to work toward resolving that national emergency.
Take care of yourselves. Be vigilant. We're not saying that this is going to be like a completely chaotic crisis, but who knows? This is kind of a serious ordeal because, again, it's China. And most people don't recognize that the majority of our goods, they come from there, they're manufactured there. So thanks for tuning in. If you like this video, like, share, and subscribe. This was NTV News.